Would you like to hear a story about jealousy and revenge? Let me tell you a story. In the time when man and animals used to communicate, King Eyamba was a very powerful king. He fought many wars and conquered many kingdoms. The old and the frail he would kill, and the young able-bodied men and women he would bring back to his kingdom. King Eyamba had 200 wives, but none of them bore him a son. The cabinet were worried that he was getting old without an heir, and so they convinced him to go to the spider and ask for one of his daughters. King Eyamba agreed, and one of the spider's daughters was brought to him. Her name was Adiaha. Adiaha was very ugly, and King Eyamba, on seeing her, did not like her. But because he needed an heir, he accepted to marry her. They got married, but the other wives were mocking her and making jest of her ugliness, and so he built a separate palace for her to live in, where she was catered for like all the other wives. Adiaha had a secret. She had been born with two skins. She had her spider skin, which was really ugly, and she had her beautiful maiden skin. At night time, Adiaha would take off her spider skin to reveal a beautiful maiden. But just before the crack of dawn, she would put on her spider skin again and mix amongst the other queens. The head queen knew her secret, and she became worried that the king was going to fall head over heels in love with Adiaha once he found out that she was actually a very beautiful maiden. And so the head queen went to a native doctor and asked him to make a potion that she would give to the king secretly that would make the king forget about Adiaha, the spider's daughter. The native doctor created the potion, and the head queen put it in the king's food, and the king forgot everything about Adiaha. When Adiaha waited for 4 months and the king never visited her in her palace, she went back to her father. When her father heard everything, he consulted the water spirit. The water spirit told the spider that the head queen was responsible for everything that was happening to his daughter. He created a potion and gave it to the spider and told him to tell his daughter to put it in the king's food, and the spell from the head queen would be broken. Adiaha did exactly as was instructed, and immediately the king ate the food. The spell was broken, and he remembered her. He saw her as a beautiful maiden and summoned her to his palace. She was so happy, she went to the river to bathe and put on her finest clothes and went to meet the king in the palace. She stayed in the king's palace for months, and not long after that, she bore a son. The young prince grew up strong and handsome, and he was the apple of his father's eyes. When the head queen saw that her plans had been thwarted, she went back to her medicine man and asked him to cast a spell on the king to make him fall sick so that she could pin his sickness on the new prince. The medicine man did just as was instructed, and the king fell sick. When the medicine man was summoned to find out what was wrong with the king, he told the king and his cabinet that the young prince and his mother were responsible for the king's sickness. He told the king that the young prince and his mother wanted to kill the king and take the throne for themselves. He said that the only way that the king could be cured was by throwing the young prince into the river. When the king heard this, he was so distraught and refused to do what the medicine man told him to. But his cabinet appealed to him and told him that he can always have another son. When he found out that he was not getting any better, he decided to comply. Amidst tears and wailing from the mother, the young prince was thrown into the river. Please follow for part 2.